Tune in to Heel of the Ring podcast on the Sports Jedi Network channel. May the sports be with you. Because I am the hero the Sports Jedi deserves, but not the one it needs right now. Long live Lexus King.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Heel of the Ring podcast here on the Sports Jedi Network. I'm in with Chris. This is our second of our interviews here. We have the honor and privilege, ladies and gentlemen, to bring in the Brooklyn Outlaw. But first, let me say hi to Chris. Chris, what's going on, brother?
What up, man? What up? Yeah, we're continuing the series. You know, yesterday we had Johan Nair on. It was a really good interview. And we're going to continue doing it today. You know, we're back. You know, we were just live an hour ago for like an hour, but we got a special guest with us today, so let's not waste any time. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's bring him in, the one and only, the Brooklyn Outlaw, Donovan. Bienvenido, saludo. Welcome to the program.
What's up, fellas? How we doing, man?
We're doing great. We are excited that you're here joining us here. We do a couple questions from a fan to you from a fan, and Chris. I always give the honor always to Chris to go first. Chris, you got it, brother. Go for it.
What up, brother? No, we just had some good conversations backstage. Again, we appreciate your time, dude. I do want to know what made you fall in love with professional wrestling to the point that you wanted to get to it and actually do this in the ring. Who are some of your favorites, you know, growing up?
Weird. That's actually a funny story right there, because
I love it. Let's start it off like that. I always like to start the question off with the guest that introduce.
Of course, we gotta start crazy. It's a little. I love this since I was a little kid. I remember my mom she said as early as maybe like 2-3 years old, I was playing with my buddy dolls, and I was there wrestling with them on, you know, the little pull-out couch in the crib in Brooklyn or whatever, just throwing myself on top of it, messing up the futon bed and all this other 9 yards. And actually, during that time, my mom was actually saying that I enjoyed watching, weirdly, Andre the Giant. I was a big fan of Andre the Giant. I used to love seeing him kick Hulk Hogan's ass. But growing up, you know, you have, you know, Mr. Perfect. I liked Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, obviously our people. You know, I liked Bad News Brown. I liked the Macho Man. And then for me personally, my all-time favorite was always Shawn Michaels. So, you know.
Second one.
Yeah. That I mean, you know, he did amazing things, you know, and just the way he bumped around and all that other stuff it was just amazing stuff to see. Obviously, with Eddie Guerrero, it was amazing to see just him put it all together with the craft and show, you know, how, you know, wrestling should be and everything like that. The true mark of wrestling, you know, with our people and our culture.
I love it. My question to you, right? Who do you put I think you kind of answer it, but who do you wrestle or borrow some from inspiration in the ring? Like, who do you model your wrestling style? Like, you know, I know you have your own flair, your own gumbo, but who is that kind of like? When I see you, I see a little of fill in the blank.
I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't say it. Maybe I might take a little something from Perfect and Shawn and concerns to like bumping and everything like that and how to sell certain things.
Love it.
But realistically, the people that I really look after when it comes to like performance wise and everything in the ring is all of the New York guys. Homicide, you know, Dan Moff, Monster Mac. Like, those are the guys that I really, you know, low key. Those are the guys that I really looked up to when I was younger, you know. And I was fortunate enough to be able to, you know, hang out with, you know, Homicide, you know, Monster Mac, Moth, be able to pick their brain and stuff like that and learn a little something off of them, you know, as well as one of Homicide's students, Azrael, who had a big part in training me. So, you know, I would say a lot of what I do, it replicates them more so, probably Homicide, Moth, and Mac. But for the most part, like my bumping and stuff like that, I try as best as I can to emulate how they would sell and everything like that, because they were two of the most best sellers back then. You know.
That gets you far. Your selling and registering of the moves, absolutely. I think that's a big part of it, of the selling. And I love what you said, Mr. Perfect. One of my favorite, one of very underrated heels of all times is Kirk Hennig. I mean, my goodness, from his early days before Mr. Perfect, in the AWA, and then coming over to the WWF. My goodness, I love Kirk Hennig, man. He rest in peace. He was one of my favorite heels. That I wish they would have put the world title maybe one time on him. But that's another story for another day on that one. I love that. I love where you came with that one there. Chris, you want to give another one? You want me to go another one?
Go ahead, another one, because I have one that I wanted to ask for a while on air, so I'll get it to it. But go ahead, Kev.
Oh, we got a loaded question.
we got a loaded questions. We got a loaded question. I saw you had a match.
And again, we know we're on time, so we got you.
Gotcha.
Yes. Well, I know you had a match with Steve Pena. Who is your biggest rivalry right now, currently in your profession right now in New York City wrestling, or in your independent career right now?
Well, previously it was Pena. I think prior to that it was Vinny Pacifico. Right now it's a little back and forth going on with Azrael.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a group we had put together called Hispanos Unidos.
Okay.
And, the group eventually dismembered and disassembled. And now it's just, he decided to go his way with his own thing, and now we're just going at it now.
Ooh.
In Steve Pena, squashed our beef. Now it's me and Az doing our thing.
All right. I like that. Chris, go ahead, Chris.
So one thing I wanted to ask you on the air, right? Where does the name the Brooklyn Outlaw come from? Is it something you came up with? Is it something, one of your trainers came up with? Is it somebody else? Where does the name Brooklyn Outlaw? Because I think it's pretty badass.
Thank you.
It reminds me of some Brooklyn Brawler shit. Like, it's pretty badass.
Appreciate that. No, actually, I used to be in a tag. When I first started, there was a gentleman that actually, he taught me how to bump. He taught me a front bump and a back bump, legitimately in a backyard. Like, no lie, in the back of someone's building. He lived back there. He put out some mats. His dad used to wrestle for. His dad was Pedro Morales. Not Pedro Morales. He was cousins with Pedro Morales. The kid's name used to be. He used to go under the wrestling name Dangerous Dan Payne. And he taught me back bumps and front bumps. And at that point, we ended up going to Jersey to go ahead and go to this wrestling school called, AWA. Went to the wrestling school, started, training. And at that point, they wanted Dan Payne to team up with somebody. And obviously, he knew me. So he's like, put him with me. I'll help him out and everything. And they came up with the name The Outlaws. Crazy. I mean, it was completely Danny's look and everything with the whole leather pants and everything. It was a crazy look. But we were called The Outlaws. And over time, eventually, that broke apart. I was just called, I was just going by the name of, what the fuck? I'm sorry. Am I allowed to curse on?
It's YouTube. We let one go once in a while.
All right, cool. I think I was Mike. It was the name Mike Mayhem at the time. That was the name I used. And then eventually I just wanted to use my regular last name because my last name is Donovan. So I went with Mike Donovan. That was running for a little while. And then eventually I went back to the whole, trying to figure out, during that time period, it was a lot of me. And I'm getting to answer your question. Trust me.
No, dude. Go ahead.
Oh, take your time.
Yeah, I'm giving you a little bit backstory to it.
Perfect.
During that time period, I was always, doing what everybody else wanted me to do. Like I was, working, I'm teaming up with Dan Payne. Let me acclimate to what he looks like. Then eventually I started teaming up with a dude that I mean, we were doing our thing for a while. Raw Vegas, and we were called Style and Finesse, and we were running. You know, that was Rob's look, that was Rob's vibe, and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? One of my closest friends, but that was still his thing. You know what I mean? So I was going ahead and I was, you know, conforming to what he does. You know, the pretty boy, OD pretty boy look, and all this other stuff, and I was running with that. And then finally, when I just had an opportunity just to do me for me, that's when, you know, I already had the whole outlaw thing going. And it was just like, you know, I was raised in Brooklyn my whole life. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like for me, it was my way of, you know, repping where I came from, you know, repping who I am, where I was born, where I was raised. And at the same time, for me, outlaw is someone who abides by their rules. They do what they need to do for them to get to where they need to be, based on how they perceive things. No,
Absolutely, yeah.
any means necessary. You know what I'm saying? That's a true outlaw. You know, so for me, that's how I've done it. You know, from that point moving forward, that's how I was gonna do it. I was gonna do it by my means. It wasn't gonna be because I'm with this person, because I'm with that person, on a professional level, on a personal level. You know, I was gonna do me for me, and I was gonna do it and make sure that I get things done, you know, on my own, how I need to do it. You know,
it's what you have to do.
Yeah, and
you have to do that in this business. You know, that's how you're gonna get far. You know, because there's some certain things, you know, that you might not be wanting, just simple as you don't want to do it, so the fact that, you know, you did that, you know, it shows how really committed you are to yourself, and I think that's really important. I think a lot of people get lost in that, because one thing I really like about you, and the reason why I wanted to talk to you, is you're very real. Excuse my language, but you don't give a fuck. So it's really, you know, that's something special, that, you know, like, that's rare. So I love that. One more thing before I throw it back to Kev. You know, growing up in Brooklyn, recently we had a lot of Bronx people on our show, and, you know, they told us a little bit about their wrestling schools, you know, where they came from, how they took their first bump. What was it like? What are some of the schools in your area that, you know, you first stepped into, and how was it when, you know, taking your first bumps, and, you know, some of your trainers, what was kind of like your first, like, wrestling school experience?
Well, my first place, I told you, it was in the Lower East Side, in the back of a building.
Right.
And then I ended up in Jersey, Union City, at AWA, which eventually became
AWA. You mentioned that earlier. Yes. So that was like your first introduction to like an actual wrestling school.
Yes. I mean,
okay.
Before that, I could say I did go to Doghouse, not to train though. I went to go ahead. That was my first time actually seeing professional wrestling live, even though I was WWF.
That was your first time seeing something outside in like your local area. That's like, whoa, if these people that look like me, they're living the same lives, like I could do this, you know, this thing too.
That's exactly where it came from. I went to Doghouse. My boys were doing like a little show there before Doghouse had a show. After the show was over, after their show was over, I believe I met Bobby Lombardi, if I'm not mistaken, and he told me, he said I can stay for the show. I just have to set up chairs.
Okay.
So I did that. I set up the chairs because I was really interested to see the show. Sat there, watched the show, blown away, because I'm like, damn, like exactly what you just said. Man, this guy's. I was just hanging out with this guy like not too long ago. He's out here killing it.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's literally where I got the crossbody from. I do a little, you know, setup, and then it ends with the crossbody. I got it from watching Doghouse, and it was
Nice.
a wrestler by the name of Matt Lariat. He did the crossbody in the corner, and I was like, if I ever wrestle, if I ever get an opportunity to be in the wrestling business, I'm gonna do that move. And I've held on to it since, and I just changed the ways that I've done
it. Nice, awesome. Now, I seen your journey. I was looking here back in 2004. 2024. Excuse me. You had a match with Cha Cha Charlie. I saw it under the name of Donovan. When is the last time you've been to CCW, Coastal Championship Wrestling? Because I live in Orlando. If you ever come down to Coastal Championship Wrestling, definitely want to get a ticket purchase and meet you, support you, and go there. And that was my question. What was it? You know, Tell us about that experience.
I mean, it was cool. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do go by the name of Donovan now. I cut the Mike part because
Yes.
it was a whole thing with Evolve and everything going on, and it was better off to kill the Mike name. It makes total sense. So, and it sounds off the tongue, the Brooklyn Outlaw Donovan. You know what I'm saying?
I like it.
So no, CCW was cool. I had fun. I mean, that whole weekend, I think I did 3 shows, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I came in, I did a Thursday shot, I did a Friday shot, and I did a Saturday shot, if I'm not mistaken. Or it might be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was a couple. This was, I think, almost like a year ago that this happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it was cool. That was actually, I think, I had just came back from my tricep surgery, and I think this was like match 2 or 3 back in it. Like I came back, and by the grace of God, a lot of bookings were there. People were interested, so I started racking up a couple of dates, and I went out to Florida for those 3 days. I had a great match with Cha-Cha. I felt like I pushed him.
Nice.
Gave him a match than he normally is accustomed to. And then the next 2 nights were fun too. They were great experiences, great time. Next time I'll be out there, bro, your guess is as good as mine. Because like I said, I don't sugarcoat shit. Last I heard, they were interested, and I haven't heard anything since. So, if they're ready, whenever they're ready, I'm ready.
All right, always stay ready. I like that. See, but because obviously Florida is a big one. And by the way, that you picked the right times. April, you got out of the little bit of the cold, that nasty weather in New York. You came to the nice warm Florida time in Florida. I mean, I'm pretty sure you were enjoying it down here for those few days. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I had a great time. Once to go see my mom. She lives out there, so it was a good time to go ahead and spend time with the family.
Beautiful.
And go do my thing in the same process.
Oh, well, hopefully there's going to be more opportunities, hopefully, because House of Glory is opening up a school and some opportunities down here in Florida, in Orlando. And hopefully there's some opportunities in the independent scene for, more, not just Florida wrestlers, but for you folks up there in the north to come entertain us down here, because I'm definitely want to watch that, see you guys come down. Same thing I said for you, Matt, Jared, everyone from that northeast that that we have come on. I definitely want to be able to purchase and support and see you guys in the square circle and just cheer you guys and see your story in with my eyes in front. So I'm looking forward to that. I hope that comes forth. My next question is, what is the most difficult part of being managing the wrestling? Is it the getting bookings, the traveling, or I think this one's easy, or leaving your family to go wrestle and go on the road?
That was actually really good question. The whole matches and everything, that's the easy part at this point. I've been doing this 20 years. And it's not speaking in a cocky way. I'm just comfortable with what I do. I know what I do. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm not. I know my limitations, So at this point in time, I will try some things. I'll bust out some things that I know I could do, but I don't use all the time because it just doesn't make sense for me and what the brand that I'm putting forward. It doesn't make sense for me to do it, if that makes sense. But, sometimes I'll bust out something when it's a big match or there's a need for it or something like that. Leaving the family is always a tough one, I do enjoy the travel though. I do enjoy, seeing new places. I do enjoy, seeing new towns, whatever it may be. Sometimes I get the family involved too with it. If it comes to something, if there's they had a show for Titan that I wrestled for in North Carolina, and it was on Valentine's Day, and I brought the shorty with me. I'm like, no, you coming with me,
Beautiful.
The missus came with me. I wasn't gonna go on Valentine's Day and, not. I might not be here right now if that was the case. But all in all, it is tough. When you have a family that and a family that supports you and behind you, But and the same token too, they do understand that you do have to travel because you're trying to live a dream,
Right.
And at the end of the day, maybe everybody benefits from this, So that is the tough part. I do, but again, same token, I am a type of person. I wasn't I wasn't that type of kid that was always traveling when I was young. So now doing it, you know, at this point in my life, you know, with something that I enjoy doing, it does have its exciting moments, you know. So it's like a double-edged sword, if you get what I mean.
I understand perfectly. Yes, yes, I understand. I like that. Chris, you want a question?
Yeah, we're still no. Perfect. It leads right in because we're talking a lot about travel. What's some of your favorite cities, favorite crowds to get involved with when you're on the road? Do you like being in the New York area, the Northeast area? I live in Pennsylvania, so do you like coming up here? Have you been to like the West Coast? Like, what are some of your favorite places to wrestle and perform in?
Well, I did perform once. This was many years ago, though, out in Cali, and it was fun. I had a great time there. They're really into the wrestling. You know, South Jersey, they're very into the wrestling. They locked in. I've never got a chance to really. I've wrestled once at the what is that? I think they call it 2300 Arena now, the ECW.
Yes.
Yeah, the 300 Arena in Philadelphia. Yep.
Yeah, I got to wrestle there once, and that was when
that's really cool.
Yeah, very early on in my career, it was for Jersey All Pro Wrestling, and you know, just walking into that arena is like awe-inspiring because that's when it was the old.
I'll be there for the first time in December for the AEW weekend, so I can't wait to see that arena in person.
Yeah, my first time was literally when it was still was the old school ECW arena.
Okay, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, you're looking around and you're seeing that
that's awesome.
All the truss, the lights up, and you're just looking at it and you're like, God damn, like so much history in this building, you know. I've wrestled in Mass. I've wrestled in a lot of places. I like to wrestle in a lot more. Hardest crowds, I would say New York, obviously, because they're very spoiled. Same thing with the Florida crowd. They're very spoiled because they get to see, you know, NXT do. I think they call them the coconut runs or whatever they call them. They're doing that, so they get very, very, very spoiled. So they're watching that regularly, and then they get to watch indies. So they're just sitting there like, you ain't this person, that person. So they have their tough crowds. Sometimes CCW though, when I wrestled those shows, those fans were in it. They were into everything. So, you know, I'll kind of give myself a little love right there.
It's all good. It's all good.
Pero también too, like they're really into it. The crowd at North Carolina. When I went down south to North Carolina, yo, that crowd was amazing. They legit, like they're into it.
Nice.
To a point that, you know, we had just like a little thing after the match where there was like a little scuff up between me and the guy, and we did 2 nights there. The second night, you know, it was leading to the second night, and the promoter that was working there, he was like, you know, let me tell you something, kid, that my damn DMs didn't stop last night with people asking, you know, was that real? Did that really happen? What's going on with this New York guy? So it was, you know, it was really good to see, like, you know, people out in the South, they're believers, you know. So they're doing your thing out there, you know, they're gonna buy into what you're selling.
Love it.
Follow-up question, you know, we're talking a lot about matches. We mentioned DCW. What are your favorite type of matches? Do you like to have maybe like a death match type of match? Are you more of a technical guy? Do you like the lucha libre stuff? Like, what's more? What kind of some of your styles to, you know, do in the ring, or, you know, just some of your favorite in general? Because I think you can do a little bit of both, or a little bit of all. Like a little bit, you're really technical, but you can fly. That's the thing.
I've been very fortunate that when I was training, I was around a lot of good people. You know, again, I trained with Azrael, who was trained by Homicide. By Homicide, he was taught by Low-Key, Dan Moff, Monster Mac, you know, Xavier, and the who's who, you know what I'm saying?
I love Low-Key, man.
Yeah, who does it? You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where, you know, I learned, and he's a technical wrestler, but at the same time, he flies, you know? So I got to learn a lot off of him. You know, I got to pick, you know, Jay Lethal's brain when he was training dudes out at the
Beautiful
Wrestling Academy. You know, I got to, whoever came through, I was trying to, you know, pick their brains and learn. And I was fortunate enough to pick up things and just learn from my mistakes as well at the same time. And I've been fortunate enough that I can do every style. I'm comfortable to do every style. Will I though? Probably not, because again, it really depends on, as a wrestler, you have to really look at, the total package that you put together and what makes sense.
Right.
Like, does it make sense for me, a New York guy, to be flying everywhere, that I have this brawler style?
Got you. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? If I need to bust it out to, take it to the next level in a match, then yeah, of course I'm gonna do it.
Got you.
Gonna push yourself to the next level to go ahead and secure that W. But in the same token too, it's a matter of picking your spots of when to do it and everything like that. If you have a guy that's just typically just a grounded wrestler and everything like that, yeah, I'm gonna go to that style and go ahead and do it with a little bit of, at the same time with a little bit of my flavor in it,
Gotcha.
The flyer, I'll work with the flyer, I'm a base. I'm a good base for that. But in the same token too, if I need to do something that'll just add to the match, yeah, I'm gonna do it,
Yeah, you leave that high flying stuff for the Staten Island Ferry.
Yeah, you leave. Yeah, hello.
Chris Gay, I know you want to ask that question. You ask all our guests about the representation. Go for it.
Yeah. We're on that. Yeah, then I'll throw it to Kev, because I like to ask all my guests about this. We're all Hispanic. Doesn't matter. Me and Kev, we're all Puerto Rican. It doesn't matter. How important is it for you, to represent Latinos, our people? And I like to ask that because, we're seeing it now more popularized. With Damian Priest, Mike Santana, Homicide, even just I'm naming guys back in the day who have done it, but just haven't gotten the appreciation. But now we're seeing it more with Damian Priest, Santana, Zelina Vega, and more others in the indie scene. That's why we wanted to talk to you guys. We wanted to make this series starting off with our people, because I feel like we connect, or just off that already, on a level. Well, how important is that for you? Because there's a lot of fans that are like us now. Especially, we had Johan Nera, who's from Puerto Rico. He was talking about how popular he was. Each spot's in the really big fans. And I know you're part Dominican as well. How important is that for you?
Yeah, I'm Puerto Rican, Dominican, Irish. That's where I get
and Irish, yes, and Irish.
Yeah. No, for me, it's very important. At the end of the day, when you represent yourself, regardless, you should always represent where you came from, no matter what kind of character you're portraying. You think about it like this: Damian Priest, he projects like a really dark rock and roll, heavy metal type dude, but he still says, I'm a dude from the Bronx. I'm a Puerto Rican kid from the Bronx, Santana, he's gold.
He's so New York.
Yeah, very much so New York, and I met him when I was when I was out in the Lower East Side. That's where me and him met. But for the most part, he's heavy Bronx and heavy kid from the Bronx, just straight up repping, where he's from, straight up repping how he does. And I feel like, that is Mike. I'm not seeing anything that's unauthentic when he knows his brand. And for me, like I said, it's just very important that you should represent where you came from, represent, your peoples and everything like that, because at the end of the day, if you ain't doing it, somebody else will, first off. Secondly, and the same token too, like how does people really get to, sink their teeth into who you are, how you get that normal fan, how you, get them drawn in. You, in certain aspects, you do have to get them to feel like, damn, that's me, I feel right. Like, but you're just that person that's on another level. And there was a point in time that Latinos weren't being represented too much. It was like very small scaled. That's where the whole Hispanos Unidos thing came from with me. And I'm, I talk about it all the time because I'm very proud of what that group did, even though it was like a 3-year run at Pro Wrestling Magic. I do feel like if we were given the ability to move it around and travel to other promotions with it would have been very successful. But for me, it was very important because I just saw like everybody had all these groups and everything like that, and they were all corny and boring and everything like that. And I remember when I was doing shows for WWN, and it was me, Steve Pena, and this other gentleman, Chris, I forgot, it's Chris Tavares, I believe his last name was. And we were a group, we were just called the NYC crew. The funny part was is we are from New York, but we were called NYC because the whole gist of it was, you know, we're not the normal New York group that you all look at. We were not your choice. So that was the gist of the whole thing, NYC. You know, and I'm looking at them and I'm looking at all of us and I'm like, yo, we all Spanish here. Like, why aren't we utilizing that? But we did it.
Right.
So we just ended up, you know, going the direction that, you know, they were looking for, and kind of still, again, putting in our you know, our 2 cents into it. And it was good for as long as it lasted. But then at that point, you know, I'm over here and I'm sitting here and I'm just like, yo, I don't see, I think there was nothing really going on in concerns to Latinos at that point. And I'm like, yo, like, I'm looking at guys on the roster that I was wrestling in, and I'm like, these groups, like the groups that they had, they were corny. And that's legit.
No, that's how it was, because I ask and I talk about, you know, even back mainstream, right? Even back in like Carlito, they had him he from the Caribbean. Like, you couldn't tell the guy he was from Puerto Rico. Like, seriously, you had this guy go, like, really? Like, it's just certain things back then, like, it wasn't a thing for in this business. It strictly wasn't, and it's bothered me for a long time. But I love how it's overcome, and I give just as, and again, that's why we wanted to talk to you guys, the independents. You guys are doing it better than most people on WWE, on AEW.
Is your microphone cut off, Chris? Your microphone, Chris.
I fucking hate this thing sometimes. I hate StreamYard. You hear me? All right, but but seriously, you guys are really, yeah, I hate that. My bad. But you know what I'm saying though. You guys do it better than anybody. So I always give that credit for the independent scene. Sorry, I hate that shit.
Nah, you good, bro.
It happens sometimes, dude. It happens all the time. Not all the time. It happens once in a while when StreamYard wants to be stupid. But yeah, again, you guys keep doing that, seriously, because it means a lot for us, the fans, just as much as it does for you guys as the wrestlers.
Yeah, I definitely thought it was very important. And, you know, I was very happy too and fortunate I was able to pick the people that I wanted for the group. And they were all guys that I felt like were good Latino wrestlers that weren't given their proper due or proper respects to actually, you know, be put in a good spot. So, you know, I'm very happy and very, you know, yeah, very happy that I was given that opportunity to go ahead and do that. And at the same time, you know, represent my people. And, you know, even the name Hispanos Unidos, when I was growing up, you know, in Brooklyn and in the Lower East Side, the name Hispanos Unidos came from my stepfather's softball team.
Mm-hmm.
Called Hispanos Unidos. That's exactly where I got the name from.
Why do you think I started doing the signal of baseball? That's why I know. Yeah, there was a league called Pano Unido in the Bronx.
No, ours was in the Lower East Side. They used to play at the FDR Drive. And
Yeah.
Unidos. I remember that. Like growing up as a kid, just being there, you know, every Saturday and Sunday, watching my stepfather go out there and play softball.
Small world. Oh my God, it's a small world.
Yeah, for sure.
Small world. I tengo una pregunta, I had a question.
Damn.
Tomorrow, like you know, I let's say I get some connection, I get ring. I say, look, I've got a tour for you.
Mm-hmm.
There's the 3 destinations. Fantasy, where would you like to go and work? I've got a tour in England or on the European circuit, a tour in the Caribbean, Puerto Rico. I don't know if you wrestle in these places, but and you have one in Japan. Where we're booking you, Donovan?
God damn. Yeah, to mess me up with that last part. That's rough. Damn. I mean, Japan's always the dream. You know what I'm saying? For any independent wrestler out there.
Everybody says that, man. All of our guests said that.
I'm gonna go against what they say though. I'm gonna say Puerto Rico. I'm gonna say the Caribbean. The reason being, I mean, have you seen shows in Puerto Rico, bro? Have you
Did
seen
you
crowds?
just look? Not even talking about Backlash.
Let's talk.
Look at some of the independent shows. They go insane.
Let's watch WWC. Just watch that.
Yes.
WWC, yes.
The reaction, the crowd's so into it. They legit believe everything that they're watching, and they're so fascinated by the wrestlers and everything like that. It's like just put me there during their heyday when they were like, when things were wild and everything was like the way. Man, I'll take that.
Donovan versus Cheeky Star. Let's go.
I wouldn't have to do nothing. What are you talking about? He's so old. I gouge him in the eyes and scratch him and stuff like that. And then we throwing batteries at me and everything.
Yeah.
And everything. Those were wild times, but I mean, those were like just imagine being around that atmosphere where everybody really believed what you did, and and at the same time too, the crowd was just so into it. Don't get me wrong, to be in Japan would be amazing. It'd be amazing to do. It's always every independent wrestler's dream, every wrestler that's made its dream to get that opportunity there. But, to wrestle in Puerto Rico on the island, bro, I'll take that.
Yeah, also you could get that Rebel jacket.
There you go.
All right, Chris, one more question. We have two more questions, and I know you got to go to the gym, and we don't want to take too much of your time as well. Chris, you're fine. You throw some questions.
Yeah, well, I always like to ask, the final question to my guests. What are your future goals coming up? I mean, you've like you said, you've been doing this for 20 years. You've done so much, but you're not done. You're nowhere close to being done. There's still so much ahead of you. What are some? Is it matches? Do you want to win some more gold? Is it to be in a promotion specifically? What are some of your future goals going forward for the Brooklyn Outlaw?
I don't know, lie. I want to get signed. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I want to wrestle here. I want to get signed. If that means being a part of AEW, if that means being a part of WWE, which would be the ultimate goal, NWA, that's this is what I want to do. As crazy as it seems, let's put it like this. I'll put this into perspective. My wife was, she, gave birth recently to my daughter, and I had that little time away from work, and I'm just sitting at home, going to the gym, taking care of my daughter and my kids, going to my shows. And I just sat there and I'm like, damn, if that's what it is, bro, then give me it every day. Even if it means I have to do media and everything like that, bro. I love that. I love the sport that I'm in. I love this since I was a kid. So whatever it takes, whatever I need to do, to continue to progress my brand and my name to get to that point, I'm there for it. You know what I mean? Like that, it was one of those, it was like a real, like, holy shit moment. Sorry if I curse, don't take it.
No.
Bro, you're good, brother.
Yeah, like it was really one of those moments where I just sat there and I'm like, God damn, like I knew I loved it. I knew I loved wrestling, and I knew I loved being a part of it, but I didn't think I loved it. I can't say I didn't think I loved it to that extent, but I didn't think that I would have that moment where I just sat there and I'm just like, yo, no, this is what I want to do. Like, there's no...
Gives you a whole different perspective, too. Well, yeah. Especially when you welcome that little one in the world.
Oh, yeah. So it's just, I just want to I want to get signed somewhere, be able to showcase my brand. And, if it leads to bigger and better things, that's God's blessing. And I just want to continue to do what I love, professional wrestling. That's I love.
That's why we're here, man.
That's why we're here to root you on and be at the sidelines cheering you on and helping you get there with our claps, with our cheers. And if you're a heel, if you want us to boo you, we'll boo you, because it's better than getting no reaction. You know what they say: if you get a reaction, you get something. On that. My question here that I like to always ask: I'm going to be the booker next year's WrestleMania. I asked that question to everyone that comes on. I'm going to give you 2-out-2 matches. You have a match with someone current on the roster right now, anyone from any promotion, anywhere at WrestleMania, and someone from the past. would you would like to get in the ring? And it could be two-night WrestleMania. Hey, we'll do one night, dynasty booking style. Just indulge me. I definitely would love to hear your answer.
Okay. I would say if we're gonna talk about the past, what is it? Doesn't matter where they independent.
They don't matter.
Okay. I would obviously say if it's in the past, I would be lying to myself if I didn't say Shawn Michaels in his prime. Same token, I would also like to say, and I'm sorry for messing up your question.
You're good.
I'd also like to say Homicide because he said
great.
He's retired.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would definitely say Homicide because I've always looked up to Homicide and I never got to have that opportunity to get in the ring with him. So that would be,
nice,
incredible feat for me to be able to pull off to just get in there with him. Again, he's trained me for like a couple of weeks when we were doing some, training stuff with him, and he murdered us. But it was at the same time, it was like I knew I was in the right hands, and I can see it and feel it in my performance when I would go out there for other promotions. That his training and the cardio that he was pushing us to do and everything, it was coming through. Current at WrestleMania, I'm gonna say because I saw the match that he had with Santana, and I was just like, damn, this kid, he's on such another level. I mean, Santana's on another level too, but I've wrestled Santana.
Lucky you.
Yeah, no, Santana now I would love to wrestle, obviously, but the way he is now, yeah, of course. Pero Ali.
Ooh, beautiful.
That he's, to me, just I was watching back the blow off match between him and Santana at I forgot what TNA event it was. Was it Bound for Glory? No.
It was recently.
It was
Unbreakable.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, and just like when he came out when the dancers came and they came to the aisleway and his entourage came out and then he hit the ring, the crowd response and everything, you're just like, yo, this man is a star, bro, and he's just not getting his just dues. Like, this guy is a goddamn star, bona fide star, and it's just like, obviously TNA is on a higher level now, but same time too, like you take everything that he was showcasing prior to the belt, and you let WWE's budget put that together, even though, obviously WWE and TNA are mingling with each other, but you put that on a WWE level with the reaction you get and the work that he's putting in now,
gold.
Next level. That's knocked out the park. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would love to wrestle him. Ali, just go in there and just go at it and grind it. I think it would be a great match, And again, like I said, I feel like right now, and I believe I saw this question online, and it was the truth. They were like, who are the real big independent wrestlers that stand out right now? It's a few of them, but then you got, I'm just keeping it G. I'm not going to lie about it. But then you got, you got the names. You got Santana. You've got Ali. Technically, they are signed with Thing and they're dabbling with the E, but at the same time too, wouldn't they still be considered independent wrestlers because they wrestle on the indies?
Yes.
So to me, they're the independent wrestlers that stand out, that are stars right now, And it's just for me personally, just I feel like Ali's just like here, It's just for me, it's just a matter of time till WWE grabs him up again.
I mean, you probably have a chance on House of Glory to have a match with him. I mean, you never know.
If I ever get to get back over there, of course I would love to.
Hey, you know what? There's always authority in words. I said that yesterday, and I always say, when you put it out there in the universe and you speak it.
We got over 1,000 people in this chat. It's gonna happen.
Let's go. Let's get it.
It's gonna happen.
I always say this, and I always say this all the time, no matter, even when I'm with a promoter, whatever the case may be, the first thing whenever somebody says something like that, I'm always like, si Dios quiere. Ja.
That's right. That's it. That's it. There's always authority. There's always authority in the words. When your words, when you speak it to existence, when you speak it, and I believe it. You know, when you say it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. You know, it's gonna happen. You know, and then you know, if you want to do the match with Ali, it's possible. There's House of Glory. There's other wrestling promotions. He does take independent scenes. You never know how the things work out. You know what I'm saying? You're all right. Well, can you come in down there for a match? I have a match with you. You don't know who it is the day of. You're taking on Mustafa Ali, and you're gonna remember us. You're gonna remember us. Hopefully, you remember you. Hey, you put it in existence, guys. Oh, hey, you never know. You never know. Yeah, I think this was awesome. We appreciate you having. You have any? We want to know if you have any merch that we want to put and promote so people could buy merch, because we know that helps you guys make some extra money with T-shirts and stuff like that. And I always tell everyone that so we could push it so people could purchase it. If you have a merch store, we definitely would love for us to know how we can get our hands on it.
I don't recall the name. I'll be perfectly honest with you.
No problem.
I don't remember it, but go onto my IG. It's right there on my profile. The link is there. It's BK underscore. I mean, so I gotta check it right now. Hold on.
All right. Here we go, guys. I got it for you. Don't worry. I got it. I got you. There you go. I got you. Hot tag. Give me the hot tag. Here we go. Pro Wrestling Hot Tees /718 Outlaw. Please support. I'll put that description in our video, and I'll put it in our social media. Please do support as well as all the different folks that come on the program. You could, a $25 T-shirt. It ain't gonna break the piggy bank. It's gonna help go a long way, and also, show your love, appreciation for them coming on and putting their bodies in sacrifice to try to entertain us. Also, if you're in any part of those New York City, northern part of the United States, and you see a card, not just with Donovan or any independent, purchase. Go take an afternoon. That's the best $25 you can do. Look, TKO, you guys are all complaining about TKO raising the prices on the tickets where you're going to cost you a second mortgage. Also, All Elite Wrestling could be expensive, but not the independent scene. They're very affordable. You're going to get good shows. You're going to get guys that really love the sport, love the passion, and they're out there trying to entertain us, doing something that they love. Look, they're not stealing, they're not robbing, they're doing something positive. It's entertaining us in the beautiful art form that's called professional wrestling. And we ask you to encourage to go and buy a ticket, cheer, boo, but a reaction, and have a good time. Bring your family out there. That's why we're here. And also help the representation in our Latino culture and continue to, Lucha Libre is not just Mexico, it's also Puerto Rico, it's also England, it's also Japan, it's also, all across the world. It's global. And we want to make sure that everyone knows that and celebrate this art of professional wrestling. All right, so we want to thank you, Brooklyn Outlaw Donovan. Hopefully, we're friends here where we can.
Yes, thank you so much for your time, brother. Seriously.
Whenever you have some cards up, don't be shy to DM us. Listen, I got this show coming up. Believe me, action speaks louder than words. I told that to Johan. I tell everyone, put our actions to the test. We will promote you. We will definitely put our words out to social media and push you. And like I said, la palabra se la lleva el viento. But actions speak louder than words. So put us on to the test. We want to show you that we're behind you. We literally want to cheer you. We want to be in the sideline cheering you. And we want to make sure that you get to your level of success and what you want to leave in this legacy that's called professional wrestling. And we want to be there cheering you on and say, you know what? I spoke with him. He gave us our time. And that's why, he made a fan, and let's go. Muchas gracias. Hopefully you get some bookings in Florida. Porque again, I'm gonna have to start saving money. I gotta start.
Same thing in Pennsylvania.
Recycling cans, because I'm gonna see a lot of you guys come here to Florida and go, BX, I'm here, and I go, I gotta get these tickets. I gotta go. And sorry, Chris, I can't do live stream. I gotta go to the independent shows. Sorry, but I'm all for it though. But muchas gracias de nuevo. This is gonna be early. Happy Father's Day, because I don't know if we're gonna speak on there, so muchas gracias there. Appreciate that. And again, this is the Heal the Ring podcast here with the Brooklyn Outlaw Donovan with PG Chris. Remember, do not let life pin you. Always kick out, always get over, and may the sports be with you. Dale pa'lante, and we'll talk to you next time. Buenas noches, todo el mundo.